Now, when someone commits mortgage fraud, says Bill Pulte, they undermine the faith and the integrity of our system, and it does not matter who you are. No one is above the law. How can this woman be in charge of interest rates if she's allegedly lying to help her own interest rates? Well, the interest rates aren't too high. All you have to do is just lie about it and just say it's my primary residence, and no one will even, for what? You can knock a couple points off for everybody. Not everybody's doing that? No, Lisa.
One of the things that I did, one of the reasons that we fired many of the board members when we came into Fannie and Freddie was we found a lot of multifamily fraud on the books.
President Trump says Lisa Cook must resign now. She's cooked, and she got busted by Bill Pulte for mortgage fraud allegations and a criminal referral over to Pam Bondi and the DOJ. Pretty simple post here from the president. Cook must resign now. When he linked over to Bloomberg, this is the woman right here. Little background on her. She's an American economist. First African-American woman and first woman of color to sit on the board. Wow, it's so historic. Before her appointment to the Federal Reserve Board, she was elected to the board of directors. She's also probably the first Federal Reserve Governor board member to also have a criminal referral for mortgage fraud. Isn't that fun? So Cook was previously a professor of economics and international relations in Michigan and an authority on international economics. She was involved with Obama, Nigeria, Rwanda, and she's done a lot of work with African-American history and blah, blah, blah. So Joe Biden nominated Cook to serve as the Federal Reserve Governor, and she was just confirmed by the Senate on May 10th, and she took office, and now she's been busted. Bloomberg reported over here, says Trump is demanding the Fed's Cook to quit after a mortgage fraud allegation just hit. We're going to zoom into the details and take a look at the criminal referral that Bill Pulte sent over, but she is a Federal Reserve Governor, Lisa Cook. Also, I'm sure there's a little bit of animosity there with Jerome Powell for keeping those rates high. Now, FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pulte, urged Attorney General Pam Bondi to look into this, and Trump said she must resign. We'll read the letter from Pulte. Here's a photo of Lisa Cook. And if this happened, if she resigned, a resignation would create another opening for Trump to fill, which he'd love to do, potentially tipping the balance of Republican appointees to 4 of its 7 members. Now, the president has explicitly said he'll only pick a successor to Jerome, who agrees that borrowing costs should come down. And the Trump administration has also pursued mortgage fraud claims against Tishy Tish and Pencil Neck Schiff. Now, of course, we'll take a look at the details, and here is what we've got from Bill Pulte, the man himself. He says, the U.S. Federal Housing, FHFA, alleges in a criminal referral to the Department of Justice in Pam Bondi that Federal Reserve Governor Lisa D. Cook committed mortgage fraud by designating her out-of-state condo as her primary residence just 2 weeks after taking a loan on her Michigan home, where she also declared that home her primary residence. Now, when someone commits mortgage fraud, says Bill Pulte, they undermine the faith and the integrity of our system, and it does not matter who you are. No one is above the law. We have sent a criminal referral to the Department of Justice with regard to the allegations against Cook, and the DOJ should go wherever the facts may lead. Here's some graphics on what's happening. Here's this. Cook fraudulently represented her out-of-state condo as her principal residence and then rented it out. It's not a mistake, quote, that she got loans 14 days apart. She knew exactly what she was doing. June 18, 2021, nice house there, principal residence in Michigan. Then, for some reason, on July 2nd, 2021, she got another loan saying that her principal residence was in Atlanta, right next door to Fannie Willis. Maybe they were going on cruises together with LaToya from New Orleans. So they all, of course, follow in the same scams, lots of fraud and grifting off of their positions. And you see the signatures here. Atlanta condo, primary residence, Lisa Danielle Cook, signed it. Boom, Michigan, primary residence. Same signature, baby, through and through. Matching across the board. And so here's the criminal referral, just the snippet of it. We don't see all the details. And he redacted her home address, which is all good. And so he sent this. All right, Pam Bondi, we have another mortgage fraudster in our midst, and we need your attention to this matter. Dear Attorney Bondi and Ed Martin, special attorney, he writes, pursuant to my authority as the FHFA, I'm referring the matter below to you for charges. As regulator of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and federal home loan banks, we take very seriously allegations of mortgage fraud. It's a big problem. And other criminal activity, because this jeopardizes the soundness of our entire system. Now, in the course of exercising our authorities, we've identified matters that are appropriate for you, and we're letting you know. According to mortgage documents obtained by the U.S. Federal Housing Department, it appears that an individual called Miss Lisa Danielle Cook has falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms, potentially committing mortgage fraud under the criminal statute. Now, this has included falsifying residence statuses mortgages for Ann Arbor, Michigan-based residents and an Atlanta, Georgia residence so she could get lower interest rates. And isn't that incredible that one of the people who sets interest rates is cheating on her interest rates? And that's outstanding. Pulte says, how can this woman be in charge of interest rates if she's allegedly lying to help her own interest rates? Well, the interest rates aren't too high. All you have to do is just lie about it and just say it's my primary residence and no one will even, for what? You can knock a couple points off for everybody. Not everybody's doing that? No, Lisa, no. So here is what they say in continuance. Here's the background. On June 18th, the federal governor board member, Miss Cook, acquired a loan on the property in Michigan. She entered into a 15-year mortgage agreement for $203,000 plus interest. According to the mortgage agreement entered into by the University of Michigan Credit Union, she said that she represented to use the property as the principal residence within 60 days of execution and shall continue to occupy the property as the principal residence for at least 1 year. Then we have another property in Georgia, Fannyland, right around the corner. It says on July 2nd, just 2 weeks later, Miss Cook also purchased a condominium. Man, she's going shopping in Atlanta's Above the Four Seasons building. And she entered into a 30-year mortgage with bank fund staff for $540,000. Like, that's probably the nicer spot. Michigan's just her home away from home. In the mortgage agreement, Miss Cook affirmed this property would serve as her principal residence within 60 days of the execution of the mortgage. Yes, I'll live there. And additionally, while she affirmed this property would serve as her principal residence, online records indicate that the mortgage, or rather that the property, the unit 3550, was listed for rent in September 2022. Now, rental properties typically require the owner to enter into an investment rental property mortgage as opposed to a primary residence mortgage. And while the property was listed for rent in 22, a review of her federal government disclosures for those calendar years, 22 and 23, indicate that she has not disclosed any rental income tied to this address. Cut by Bill Pulte and busted. And he put some more documents out. He says, who rents out their primary residence here, Lisa? Well, it looks nice. 1 bedroom, 2.5 baths, carpet, basement, 1,600 square feet, air conditioning, electric, heating, forced air, no air conditioning. And you can see all the things here. So apparently that was the property that was up for rent. Busted big time. So the matching signatures and more. Here's Bill Pulte wrapping this up with a little bit more detail for us on the day.
Pam Bondi has done a great job at taking mortgage fraud seriously across a host of issues. You know, one of the things that I did, one of the reasons that we fired many of the board members when we came into Fannie and Freddie was we found a lot of multifamily fraud on the books. And, you know, we've had to clean that up, and we're still in the process of cleaning that up. And so I have, you know, been a very big fan of whether it's residential mortgage fraud like we're talking about today or multifamily fraud. This stuff has got to get the heck out of the system.
Got to get out of the system, okay? Nobody's above the law. These people are setting interest rates, and they're lying and committing fraud across the board. We've seen it with Letitia James, Adam Schiff, LaToya Cantrell from New Orleans. Now we've got the Federal Reserve board members who are now also committing mortgage fraud. Well, we know what they told us. No one's above the law, and it would be nice for Trump to have another pick in there, somebody who doesn't cheat on their financial documents.